A very big thank you to you for joining us on OGTV News at 2. I am Ido Fabaju. We'll begin with the government of Ogun State, who will soon roll out very strict measures, which includes fines for those caught in public places without face masks. The governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, stated this on the sideline of the Inferno in the city of Abeokuta, the state capital. The governor appeals to the residents of the state to comply with the COVID-19 protocols.
You cannot be too careful. We've seen this claim the lives of people from the ages of 30 and above, and it's still happening. People are in hospitals. I want to beg of all of us, it's not our desire to take us through the hardship that we went through during the lockdown. It's not our desire to lock down the economy. But it is important that we ensure that we stay on top of the well-being and wellness of our people. We do not want and we do not pray that this pandemic overwhelms our health system. So please, ensure that you wear your face masks. Please. Thank you very much, as I anticipate your fullest cooperation. The state government will soon be reading out very strict measures, fines inclusive, for those that are caught in public places without face masks. We know that many of us are pandemic weary or COVID weary. It is tiring. It's gone on for much longer than we anticipated. It's our hope that the vaccine will soon be here in Nigeria, and all of us, or most of us, will be beneficiaries. But in the meantime, we need to ensure that we stay alive.
Nigeria on Tuesday recorded 1,301 new cases of the novel coronavirus and an additional 15 more deaths, according to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. The Disease Control Agency put the total number of virus cases recorded across the country at 113,305. However, 91,200 have been treated and discharged, while 1,464 have succumbed to the disease. Almost half Tuesday's new cases came from Lagos, which recorded 551 new infections. Other states include FCT 209, Oyo 83, Plateau 63, Kaduna 64, Enugu 61, Rivers 44, Ondo 39, Benue 37, Akwa Ibom 31, Kano 19, Delta 18, Gombe 18, Ogun 16, Edo 15, Kebbi 10, Ebonyi 9, Jigawa 4, Osun and Zamfara 3 each, Borno and Nasarawa 1 each. The federal government said the country has the capacity to store up to 400,000 doses of the expected COVID-19 vaccine. The executive director of the National Primary Health Development Agency, Dr. Faisal Shuaib, disclosed this during a tour of the National Strategic Cold Store in Abuja. Nigeria is expected to receive 100,000 doses of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine by the end of January. The Pfizer vaccines must be stored at the ultra-cold temperature of 70. The NSCS houses 3 ultra-cold chain equipment. The 3 pieces of equipment have a combined capacity of 2,100 liters and operate at a temperature of -85 degrees Celsius, according to Dr. Shuaib. Ogun State government has banned articulated vehicles from using any flyover within the state. Governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, made the pronouncement during an on-the-spot assessment of the inferno occasioned by a falling tanker carrying premium motor spirit, PMS. Governor's office correspondent Tunde Olaniro reports that the governor assured the victims of adequate medical treatment. His report.
The Ogun State capital woke up to the news of an inferno occasioned by petrol-laden tanker along IBB Boulevard. Promptly, the state government swung into action, and the governor, Prince Dako Abiodun, visited the site of the incident, giving the correct situation of things.
He might have suffered a brake failure as he was descending the Kuta Bridge. And it appeared as if the driver, in his effort to manage that situation where the vehicle had spun out of control, observers saw him trying to warn people that he appeared to have lost control of the vehicle. He swerved across the median, tried to manage the vehicle to come back to the other side where he was. In the process, he collided with a few vehicles and some Okada drivers. The tanker driver, now upturned, was carrying a full load of PMS, that's premium motor spirit petrol, and in view of what we know as the very inflammable nature of this product, it resulted in a fire outbreak. Unfortunately, some of those that the vehicle collided with were trapped under the vehicle, and they were instantly engulfed by the fire.
The governor confirmed that there were 3 fatalities. Then the pronouncement that affects all articulated vehicles in the state.
I have discussed with the Ministry of Transportation. We will begin the enforcement, the serious enforcement of ensuring tankers and tanker drivers operate vehicles in Ogun State are roadworthy. They will now begin to check those vehicles to ensure and confirm when last were they maintained, do they have the adequate safety equipment, how well are they mechanically operating. We are also going to put measures in place to try and reduce or almost eliminate this such occurrence. Part of that, amongst others, would include ensuring that tanker drivers do not drive on our overhead bridges anymore. This description, for purpose of clarification, will include anything that is a trailer of any sort, anything that has a trailer behind it, either articulated, either is 33 ton or 66, anything that has a trailer behind it.
The governor urged the people to desist from going to the area in the meantime, as the remaining petrol is being evacuated from the tanker. The governor also visited the injured victims at the State Hospital Ijaye and the other 3 at the Federal Medical Center Idiaba. Tunde Olaniran, OGTV News.
To education, an expert on education has described setting of achievable goals as one of the best ways for attaining excellent academic performance. The special advisor to the governor on primary and secondary education, who is also an expert in education sector, Mrs. Ronke Soyombo, who mentioned this during the second day of the 2020-2021 second term academic session resumption monitoring exercise, said dreams come true when students set their priorities right. Mrs. Soyombo, who worked in the entourage of the Director of Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Olanrewaju Erinle, World Bank specialists and officers from the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology warned school children on the danger inherent in cultism, said that the act is capable of destroying their ambitions. She urged stakeholders in education to join hands with the government so as to do everything humanly possible to secure the lives of the future generations of the country, urging students to work smart in order to achieve their desired goals.
I want to thank God that most of our schools, they've returned well. We still have a lot of children that are still missing today. And with that, we are working with our community leaders to see how we can encourage our children to come back to school. Because what every parent has got to realize is schools have started with assessment, a pre-assessment for the term to see where they are. So with that, it's not good for children to be missing that. Because in the past, children have believed that we always use school to this particular time to clean schools. But you can see from all the schools that we've been to that people are not cleaning anymore. Cleaning was done within an hour yesterday, which was good. So everybody went into pre-assessment. And with that, all I'm saying is we've been very encouraged, but at the same time, the children that are at home should please come back.
The education expert, while commending Mrs. Taibat Oshuntubo, a class teacher at Okiowa United Primary School, Ikoto, enjoined school heads and teaching staffs to always come up with ideas that are capable of promoting teaching and learning in their various schools. Mrs. Olaniyo Beatrice, the principal of Taisholan University Secondary School, Tarsus, Igbeba Ijebuode, noted that apart from academic impartation on the students, the school was also trying hard to inculcate moral standards into them with the aim of ensuring a balanced education attainment. A student of Tarsus, Onyi Consola Ogunleye, who was one of the students that built inverter for the school, said the idea was to provide alternative power supply for the smooth running of teaching and learning. Ogun State House of Assembly Committee on Public Accounts and Anti-Corruption, in its ongoing consideration of 2015 to 2019 audit reports of the ministries, departments and agencies, has considered the audit reports of the State Agricultural Development Corporation, thus discovered 6 non-functional projects with accrued debts of over 33 million naira and misclassification of budget heads. The committee, led by its chairman, Honorable Musefiu Lamidi, made this known while considering the corporation's financial statement for the period under review as presented by the immediate past acting general manager of the State Agricultural Development Corporation, Mr. Oluwashola Shuremekun, and the director of finance and accounts in the corporation, Mr. Musiliu Abijo. Correspondent Kola Waliosho covered the exercise, and this report is presented in this package.
The infractions, as stated in the State Auditor General Report, Chairman Committee on Public Accounts and Anti-Corruption, Honorable Musefiu Lamidi, in company of committee members, requested for the list of other investments and relative income between 2015 and 2019 has been captured under the budget head Other Investment Income, as well as the project details, including financial reports of the 6 agricultural projects under its purview, to be submitted before Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021.
We have seen misappropriation. Exactly. Because what you budgeted for, you have spent more than what you budgeted for on farm development. And misclassification too. Because all those things shouldn't have come under farm development.
Director of Finance and Accounts of the corporation, however, appealed to the committee for more time to perfect the documents and reappear on a given date by the committee.
I want to appeal to the chairman to give me the opportunity of preparing a better job.
Going back home, to prepare a better report.
Yes.
Is that what you are saying?
Yes, sir.
Go and do the right thing. I was telling you this. Don't go and put what you have already captured under production costs in other expenses. Therefore, go and do the needful. It will be likely to represent. We are picking 2nd February.
Okay, sir.
In a related development, the committee considered the financial reports of the defunct Bureau of Transportation, which has metamorphosed into a full-fledged ministry, as presented by the permanent secretary in charge of the ministry, Mrs. Olushola Osasono. Considering the fact that the ministry was just created late last year, the chairman of the committee directed all former directors of finance and account, as well as the administration and supplies counterparts that served in the defunct bureau between 2015 and 2019, to appear before the committee on 26th January 2021 for further clarifications. The invited officials were found to have committed some infractions in the Auditor General's report, to include misclassification of expenditure head, no periodical checks by internal auditor. The lawmaker said such practice violated internal checks, thereby contravening financial regulations and public service rules, just as the committee observed that no notes of accounts were attached to financial records for clarifications, amongst others.
27 presidents and members have been sworn in into the Ogun State Customary Court. These, according to the State Chief Judge, Honorable Justice Mosumola Dikpeolu, was in furtherance of the state judiciary at taking justice closer to the people. Presenting the newly sworn-in presidents and members was the President of the State Customary Court of Appeal, Honorable Justice Mobolaji Ojo. Elizabeth Esson report.
Newly sworn-in presidents and members of the Ogun State Customary Court, taking oath of allegiance before the state judges led by the Chief Judge, Honorable Justice Mosumola Dikpeolu. Presenting the newly sworn-in presidents and members of the Ogun State Customary Court, the President, Honorable Justice Mobolaji Ojo, confirmed that since the present administration in the state's judiciary is anchored on the 7-point agenda, which focused on zero tolerance for corruption, necessitated appointment of more judiciary members to take justice closer to the people.
To state here that you will be presiding over courts of common sense, reasonableness, and fairness, not bogged down by esoteric or arcane legal principles and rules of evidence. You are therefore to bring this rich pedigree to bear on your new calling as officers of the judicial arm of government.
The state's Chief Judge, Honorable Justice Mosumola Dikpeolu, in a charge to the newly sworn-in presidents and members of the state customary courts, enjoined them to display adequately the confidence reposed in them.
As I being sworn in today, I wish to admonish law to eschew corruption in any form, laziness, favoritism, and any act or conduct incompatible with your status as presidents and members of the customary court. Rather, you should embrace hard work and uphold the oath of office of dispensing justice without fear or favor.
One of the presidents and some members pledged their full commitment to their new positions.
We promise that we shall discharge our duties honestly and diligently.
I believe God needs to continue tasking one's brain because an untasked brain has got a propensity towards depreciation.
The state government should expect more selfless service from me.
Two of the new appointees are legal practitioners who are to preside over Grade 1 customary courts, bringing the total number to 7, spread across the 3 senatorial districts of the state. Elizabeth Esson, OGTV News.
It is an indisputable fact that health and welfare of the society are critical to the development of any community. To this end, Otumba Shubomi Balogun handed over the Otumba Tunwase National Pediatric Center to the University of Ibadan and University College Hospital, Ibadan, to further enhance healthcare delivery in the country. While receiving the gesture, the acting Vice Chancellor of the university promised to transform the center as one of the best in the sub-Saharan Africa. Our reporter Yusuf Ganiyu witnessed the handing over ceremony held in Ijebu-Ode area of Ogun State. His report.
National Pediatric Center, situated along Shagamu-Bini Expressway in Ijebu-Ode, was built in 1994 by the Olori Omoba of Akile Ijebu, Otumba Shubomi Balogun, as a gift to humanity. This gathering is the former handing over of the Otumba Tunwase National Pediatric Center by Otumba Shubomi Balogun to the University of Ibadan and the University College Hospital, Ibadan, with the sole objective of providing a world-class medical facility to Nigerians, especially the children.
The official handing over of the OTNPC to the University of Ibadan and the University College Hospital. May God bless us all.
In his address, the chairman, Board of Otumba Tuwashe Foundation, Mr. Ladi Balogun, said Otumba Shubomi Balogun believed in the choice of management of the center by UCH and UI is to effectively raise its status.
The inspiration by Otumba Balogun to build this great establishment was first inspired when he took over the Children's Hospital at UCH Ibadan, where he was exposed to the true plight of sick children and the high demand for medical facilities to cater for their needs in a sustainable manner.
The acting Vice Chancellor, University of Ibadan, Professor Adebola Ikola, represented by the Provost College of Medicine of the institution, Professor Olayinka Omigbodu, as well as Chief Medical Director, University of College Hospital, Ibadan, Professor J.C. Abiodun Otegbayo, appreciated Otumba Shubomi Balogun for the kind gesture.
I'm really delighted that we're here in this place put together by the donor as the University of Ibadan and the University College Hospital taking over. And this is also, by the grace of God, going to be transformed into the very best we could have for pediatrics care in sub-Saharan Africa.
As the Chief Medical Director of the University College Hospital Ibadan, I promise that the same high-level healthcare service that are administered at the main hospital in Ibadan will also be administered here. I would also like to urge people of this community and beyond to utilize the opportunity provided by this hospital to further enhance their well-being and wellness.
The center, which has been in existence for more than 25 years, has been upgraded to a tertiary referral center for teaching, research and healthcare delivery for infants and children. Yusuf Ganiyu, OGTV News.
To business now, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, collected the sum of 4.952 trillion naira in total tax revenue in the year 2020. Director, Communications and Liaison, Mr. Abdullahi Ahmad, said in a statement that the figure represented approximately 98% of the national tax target of 5.076 trillion set for the FIRS by the federal government in the year under review. It is disclosed that oil, which is used to contribute over 50% in tax returns through the petroleum profit tax in previous years, accounted for only 30.6%, which was contributed to the tax revenue generated in 2020. The FIRS boss said that the non-oil tax collection was 109% in 2020, which is 9% higher than the previous year. Mr. Namir attributed the FIRS revenue generation success in 2020 to a number of reforms initiated by the board and management of the service under his leadership. We move to Oyo State, where the government has approved the payment of 8 billion naira to Osun State government as part of the agreement reached for the sole ownership of Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Lautech, Ogbomoso. The money, according to the Oyo State government, is to be paid in 4 installments over 3 years. Oyo State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Olasunkanmi Olaleye, who spoke at the news briefing after the week's State Executive Council meeting held at the Executive Chamber of the Governor's Office, Agodi Ibadan, said the amount is the outcome of asset sharing between the two states when the ownership crisis issue was resolved in favor of Oyo State. And lastly, on the news, success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. Don't forget you can follow us on our social media platforms for more news and update. We are on Apple, Roku, Windows, BlackBerry, Facebook, and Android devices. You can also watch us live on our website, www.ogtv.com.ng/live. And that's a wrap on the news at 2. A very big thank you to you for staying with OGTV News. We'll bring you more news in our subsequent bulletins. Thank you. Bye now.